Today we are looking at how to adjust your Epic Flash and Epic Flash Sub-Zero drivers from Callaway. I have both of them here in front of me, and while the standout difference between the two is the extra weight port here in the Sub-Zero, that is really there for swing weight purposes. It's not for removing or adjusting. So they both essentially have the same adjustability in the sliding weight track at the back here, and of course in the hosel. Now before we get adjusting, let's talk about these two drivers. Gorgeous to look at with the triaxial carbon crown, incredible distance from the computer designed or AI, artificial intelligence flash face, the bracing and stabilizing effect in the strike of the jailbreak bars, and then all this adjustability that we have. The key difference between the two drivers is that all settings being equal, this extra weight here will make the Sub-Zero version spin about 300 RPM less in the strike, as it produces a more knuckleball style flight, which better players and pros might like. First of all, let's look at the opening and locking mechanisms of the hosel screw for those who've never done it before. Now, to open or loosen any shaft screw or screw in your driver, place the wrench into the top of the screw and turn it anti-clockwise. And then to tighten the screw, you do the exact opposite. You turn it clockwise. And the screws, when fully tightened, they make an audible click sound, just like that, to let you know the sleeve is safely locked in place and to avoid over tightening. Now in both these Epic Flash and the Epic Flash Sub-Zero driver, we have this big 16-gram sliding weight in the rail here, which runs around the back of the sole. Now you can loosen this weight with the adjustment wrench, just like this, and then you can move it to any position along the rail. Now the factory setting will be in the middle, and that's classed as neutral. The weight more or less midway in the back, and the driver will be at its most stable and most forgiving. Now, if I slide this weight all the way towards the heel here, you will see draw written in the weight track here. This big movement of 16 grams of weight will have the effect of promoting a draw or right to left bias on your drives. Now, if you struggle with a fade off the tee or you want to correct a slice, this setting will help you. Just lock it in, wait again for the click, and away you go. Now conversely, if you slide the 16-gram weight towards the toe here, this has the effect of wanting to create a fade or left to right bias on shots. So if your poor drive tends to be a hook, try this setting to correct it. And of course, you can secure the weight anywhere along the track to make the changes more gradual or more subtle. Now we can also adjust loft and lie via the Opti-Fit hosel. And before we start that, let's just look at the markings on the hosel. You'll see here that this is a 9-degree driver. And below the number 9, there's a little hyphen line. And at the very bottom, there's another little hyphen line. In between these, you have a top and a bottom cog with letters and numbers. Now the factory setting is S for stated loft on this lower cog, in this case 9 degrees, and N for neutral on the upper cog. Now the golden rule when adjusting the Opti-Fit hosel is to have these two little lines lined up at all times. So let's go ahead and open the shaft screw on the driver. I usually hold it between my thumb and 4 fingers, and when fully opened, the head can be easily removed from the shaft. You'll notice then that the top and bottom cogs on the shaft can turn independently of each other, and these indicate some of the different loft and lie options that you can choose from. You can add up to 2 degrees of loft, and you can go 1 degree lower. And then for each loft, you can choose an N for neutral or a D for draw setting. Now the key to setting up the Opti-Fit hosel is to focus on finding your desired loft first. It's quite strange and part of its ingenuity that S for stated loft and +1 degrees are on the bottom cog, and -1 and +2 degrees are marked on the top cog. So let's say I want to hit the driver a little higher and bring up the spin a little bit. If I want to add 1 degree of loft, I go to the bottom cog, I line up +1 with the hyphen, holding that in place. I can now turn the top cog. It's like a little jigsaw. I now see that I have 2 options that fit. N for neutral and D for draw. So if I choose a draw option, I line up this D and reattach the head, ensuring my settings are lined up between the 2 hyphens. If I wanted to flight the ball a little bit lower and reduce spin, I can lower the loft by 1 degree. So I would first spin the top cog until -1 lines up with the hyphen. Then I will spin the bottom cog to choose neutral or draw. Again, they fit together like a jigsaw, and you can pop the head back on. Make sure the lines match up and tighten. Again, the key to the Opti-Fit hosel is to choose your loft first. One of the great things, and it's unique about Callaway's adjustability, is the independent cogs, which, if used correctly, remember between the lines, your grip will always stay in the original position. So if you've got a grip with ridges down the spine like some have, or have a logo in front, then there will be no change. It will stay exactly the same. So that is how to adjust your Epic Flash and your Epic Flash Sub-Zero drivers. And we advise you to first find the best setting for you on the weight track, and then dial in your loft and lie with the hosel adjustment. And it's very important to remember always that you can adjust your driver on the range or at any time before or after your round of golf, but just not during it. Now, if you enjoy this video, please do press like and subscribe to the Golfbidder YouTube channel. It really makes a lot of difference to us. It helps us greatly. And follow us across Facebook, Twitter and Instagram to keep up to date with the very latest Golfbidder news and reviews. From me for now though, it's Donal, out.